Nkosi Sigelela i-Afrika translates to God bless Africa. It was this prayer that was composed by Enoch Sontonga in 1897 as a symbol of resistance to colonialism and the brutal apartheid system. The African National Congress, the oldest liberation movement on the continent, adopted it as its official hymn in 1925. Years later, it became a Pan-African liberation anthem adopted by 5 countries in the SADC region, namely South Africa, Zambia, Tanzania, Namibia, and Zimbabwe.
Since June the 16th, when South African troops and police opened fire on a peaceful school children's demonstration, the white government has presided over the largest massacre of its black population since South Africa came into existence. Hundreds of blacks have died, thousands have been wounded, but the white Prime Minister says there is no crisis. The killings started in Soweto, the huge black township outside Johannesburg. On June the 16th, Soweto's school children gathered in protest against the introduction of compulsory teaching in Afrikaans, the main dialect of the ruling white minority. They met dogs, tear gas and bullets. The schoolboy who led that day's protest was 19-year-old Tsetsi Mashinini.
All of a sudden, they just went out of their cars and came advancing towards us. The first white policeman threw a tear gas. It was the first time we saw a tear gas can. We didn't know even what it was. So when we saw it emitting smoke, we dispersed. And when we came back again. Maybe we thought they would talk to us through a loudspeaker or something like that. All of a sudden, the same policeman who threw the tear gas canister opened fire on the students. I was with Hector Peterson when he was shot. The boy who was in that picture where a boy was carrying. He was the first student I saw going down. I saw him being shot on the head and he fell down. I could not believe it. I saw a boy of about 11 going down under police fire. I could not believe it. Apparently, when Hector was shot, the students ran back and I was left with Hector and a girl. I was feeling scared and I wanted to run away too. And this policeman was aiming his gun at Hector again, wanting to finish him off. And this girl stood in front of Hector and told the policeman in Afrikaans that skit for me, shoot for me. And the policeman deviated his aim and shot in the air. And then we took that Hector and gave him to some boys and they took him to the car, which appeared in those pics in the UBJ bulletin.
Hector Peterson was 13 years old. Hundreds of blacks were swiftly arrested, including Mrs. Oshadi Pakati, mother of 4 and national president of South Africa's YWCA.
There was so much noise the whole night, and we could hear that there was noise in the police station too. Everybody was kept moving. But
what sort of noise? What?
You know, the kind of noise that sort of displayed an atmosphere of jubilation, you know, a Christmas Eve or a New Year's Eve.
But by daybreak, there was no cause for jubilation. The streets and the mortuaries were strewn with dead. Most of them were children.
Greetings from the Mountain Kingdom of Lesotho. And hearty welcome to Millionaires Club, #Poverty Eradication. The podcast whereby we inspire, empower and equip youth for economic advancement. Today's topic is let's celebrate June 16 with a purpose. Youth Bank Now. Today's episode is dedicated to the spirit of June 16, the date that shocked the whole world in 1976. The youth of 1976 fought against unfair system, demanding education in the language that they understood. Many were killed, but they changed history. The question of the day for today's youth is, how much would you give as a token of appreciation in honor of the youth of 1976 for the freedom that they fought with their blood? Yes, this question is deep. June 16 is not just a holiday. It's a reminder of youth power. It's a call to action. The youth of 1976 sacrificed for the freedom that we enjoy today. And the best way to honor them is by transforming the bloodshed freedom into massive economic youth empowerment. On this note, the time is now for today's youth to take the baton and run with it. Not just for political freedom, but for financial independence. Hence why the Youth Continental Bank, AfriYosa, is not just important, it's essential for creating jobs and for building a poverty-free Africa. Young people of Africa, rise to the challenges. No more complaining about the government. I say, no more complaining about the government. Take it from me. Life is what you make it. Take full ownership of your own economic destiny by building a financial system that will serve the whole continent of Africa. The time is now to make it happen. I can assure you that it is possible and it is doable. If you are sick and tired of being sick and tired of youth unemployment, then respond to the call positively, passionately, and purposefully, just like the youth of 1976. Let's hit the economic ground running. Mind you, economic freedom won't be given. You've got to take it. Let's take it together. Hashtag Youth Bank Now. Hashtag June 16 with a purpose. Hashtag Be the change that you want to see. The Youth Continental Bank, inspired by the Grameen model of banking, is essential for all African countries. Hence why today's topic is inclusive of all African countries. The saying, an injury to one is an injury to all, is so profound at this time and era. More especially when there is a smell of one Africa in the African atmosphere. I hope you too can smell it. I definitely can smell it. The Kwame Nkrumah's vision of one Africa, one currency, one military is just around the corner. So young people of Africa should not be left behind. Rather, they should be in the forefront. Let me be specific as to who Youth of Africa are. They are President Mandela's Rainbow Nation Youth, all youth regardless of color. Allow me to quote from my book, Youth Power Regarding Revolutions. It is from the subtitle, My Inspiration and Hope for the African Continent. 3 years before the death of President John Magufuli, Professor P.L.O. Lumumbo made a lecture on Makulufication of Africa. In his lecture, he quoted what John F. Kennedy said in 1960. A society whose young men and women are in constant slumber will never see their potential. He stressed the point that young people must wake up, and that the day that they wake up, they will send a clear message. He even quoted that historically, revolutions has always been young people, and he gave a few examples as follows. In 1908, Martin Luther King Jr., Ralph Abena, and other civil rights society. 1968 and 1958, it was French youth. 1969, Sharpeville Massacre, youth of South Africa. In 1976, Soweto Massacre, South African youth. Young people of Turkey, Korea, Thailand, the Arab world spearheaded the Bolshevik Revolution, the world's first successful communist revolution. He even said, let's borrow from the ocean. Waves push waves to renew the ocean. New blood and young blood must push old blood like the ocean in order to renew the society. He even quoted the African proverb, no matter how good you are as a dancer, at some point you have to leave the stage. Currently, Africa is experiencing that historic shift through Africa's youngest president, the 37 years president of Burkina Faso, President Ibrahim Traoré. Young people of Africa, your time is now for the continental economic revolution. What is the Grameen model of banking? It is sometimes referred to as the bank for the poor. It was founded by Mohammed Yunus in Bangladesh. It was officially established in 1983 after a successful pilot project that started in 1970. It is known worldwide of its success and its 90 to 100% loan repayment. What propelled Mohammed Yunus to establish Grameen model of banking? For centuries, women have been considered as minors. No land entitlement, no bank loan, except per the confirmation of their spouses. Based on that, and on the fact that women naturally are hard workers and go-getters, Mohammed Yunus found it propelled to establish a collateral-free bank so that women can start their businesses and escape poverty. Our gratitude to Mohammed Yunus. Mohammed Yunus and Grameen were awarded the Peace Nobel Prize in 2006 for their effort in economical and social development. Grameen model of banking focuses on the following: low interest rate, collateral-free loans, providing microloans for the poor, especially women. It promotes unity and inspires savings and unity through its group saving and group lending strategy. Why am I so passionate and intentional about Afriosa inspired by the Grameen model of banking? First, it's a win-win for both the bank and the client. The bank gains 90 to 100% loan repayment. The clients learn the skills of saving. It offers loans without collateral and at low interest rate. Most importantly, I personally know the pain of when you have a business idea that you see that is viable, but the commercial banks tells you to put the same amount of money as security that you want for a loan, and it calls you a risk client. But once you have proved them wrong that you are not a risk client, they call on you and ask you to come for the loan. Hence why I'm adamant that we need a bank that will cater for the poor and for youth that are hungry for economic development. When I say Youth Bank now, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Through my milestone experience in Lesotho, it has always been my passion to mentor youth in business. I voluntarily mentor youth in business, but the cornerstone was, where are youth going to access money to pick from the ground there? But the problem has always been, how will youth start the business without money? Hence why I say I'm adamant that youth must start their own bank. Let's make an example with South African youth, but bearing in mind that it applies to all African countries. Statistics show that South African youth from 18 to 35 years is about plus 9 million. What if I told you that 9 million youth could change their future in one day with just 100 Rand contribution? The question will be, in what way? If the 9 million youth could adhere to this call of action and could each give 100 Rand as a token of appreciation to honor the youth of 1976 on or before the 16th of June 2025. Thus, 100 Rand times 19 million youth will amount to 1.9 billion. This is the power of unity backed up by resources. Yes, you heard me right. 1.9 billion in one day. Mind you, 1.9 billion is the minimum. How if some youth would go deeper and say, for people who sacrificed their life for my freedom, let me contribute extra 500, extra 200, extra 1,000 Rand. How much would that be? Mind you, that would not be a donation. This would be an investment by youth for their own future. President Donald Trump has taught us that we should not depend on donations. This is the time that you do things for yourself. That amount is enough money to put down security needed by the Reserve Bank to establish a commercial bank and launch Afriosa, the youth-owned bank. The youth could even fund their own training for the technical and financial running of Afriosa, following the Grameen model of banking. Hashtag 100 Rand, one voice, one economic revolution. How if the same exercise is repeated the following year? That's 3.8 billion in 2 years. I propose that this act of appreciation be repeated on every year onwards. Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. Mosotho ena o re, thupa e otlolwa e sa le metsi. This is exactly what Millionaires Club is intentional about. This June 16, 2025, let's move from remembrance to responsibility, from slogans to innovative solutions. This June 16, don't just remember, rebuild. Don't just remember, rebuild. Hashtag Youth Bank now. Hashtag June 16 with a purpose. Hashtag be the change you want to see. Just like the youth of 1976, let your name be written in the history books by contributing the minimum of 100 Rand on or before the 16th of June 2025. How I wish young people of Africa could hear me out on this profound call to action. and Africa would be saved. President Nelson Mandela once said,
like slavery and apartheid, poverty is not natural. It is man-made, and it can be overcome and eradicated by the actions of human beings.
Won't you? I completely agree with President Nelson Mandela. He's not talking poverty alleviation like most African leaders. I hate the word poverty alleviation. You alleviate poverty and leave it with who? Poverty should not be alleviated, but it should be eradicated. Young people of Africa, please respond to the call of action from our own father of Africa, President Nelson Mandela, starting this June 16, 2025. With your different appreciation offers, minimum being 100 Rand, that would be a good step towards poverty eradication. History in the making. Make your mark, youth of Africa. Let your name be written in the history books of Africa's economic revolution. Mind you, united we stand, divided we fall. In conclusion, and to showcase that youth's 100 Rand matters and that AfriYosa is a must-do investment, let us listen to the clip from the video. Fearless Dr. Argana exposes the secret of Israel and why they are so powerful.
Allow me to share with you briefly that in 1945, 13 Jewish men met in the library. They didn't even have a place to meet. This was soon after Holocaust. The ideas they came up with during that meeting were based on two facts, two realizations: that there was a need for them to unite, for them to speak with one voice when it comes to issues pertaining to them and their country. They also realized that their unity was useless if they did not back it up with financial resources. So that is all they did. They united. They said, we may not like each other as individuals, but when it comes to their Jewishness, when it comes to Israel, they stick together like superglue. They also pulled out their financial resources. If I may stop for a second, use Israel as an example and the Jewish people. The Jewish people own this little bitty tiny little piece of land, which is a desert. There's only 15 million Jews around the world. Compared to Africa, we have the largest landmass on earth, richest continent on earth, and over 400 million African diaspora. The Jews, with their little bitty country that is a desert, financially, they control the world, whether you like it or not. When those Americans in Charlottesville were holding their tiki torches, talking about the Jews will not replace us, you never saw a single Jewish man on television complaining. They complain with their finances. Their dollars speak for them. Jews do not go and borrow money from anybody. They fund themselves. They're probably the most powerful people financially. Their money speaks for them. What did we do instead when George Floyd gets killed and many others were on the street? We make noise and that's it. If everybody that protested could put $1 and say, yes, we want to protest, but we're also going to do something about it, now we could get somewhere. We could get somewhere. Translate those voices into finances. Let's make that bridge. Let's create that bridge. Let's take a page from the Jews. Let's understand that as Black people, we are the most endangered species on earth. Let's also make a commitment that how long are we going to allow this carnage to go on? How long are we going to continue to be stupid? It's about the finances, my brothers and sisters. If we do not bring our finances together, if we do not understand that my $85 a month for a year is an investment in not only myself, but my children, my grandchildren, and generations to come, then who are we? What is the solution? Understand that the brain drain out of Africa started over 400 years ago with the children of Africa who were being taken out of Africa as slaves. Remember, when they were choosing which Africans to take out as slaves, they chose the fittest, the smartest, that who they felt would sustain and survive the rigorous journey across the Atlantic, followed by those who have left Africa in recent years in search of greener pastures, some running away from famine and wars. But the end result is Africans around the world are building other nations while we are allowing our beloved continent to languish or be exploited. The colonizers have been in Africa for centuries. All they have succeeded at doing is building infrastructure designed to do nothing but extract resources out of Africa. That's all they have done, and that's all they plan to continue to do. We're the only ones who can change that paradigm.
Dr. Arikana Chwambore stressed out the following: unity backed up with resources is crucial and powerful. How long are we going to be stupid and exploited? How long? Dr. Arikana Chwambore said, put $1. I say, put 100 Rand and translate June 16 into an economic revolution. We are the only one who can change the paradigm. Starting this 2025, June 16. Hashtag 100 Rand matters. Hashtag 100 Rand, one voice, one economic revolution. In the next episode, I will explain Kramin model of banking, how it operates, and I will give action steps to establishing Afri-Yosa. Please don't miss that. Please subscribe, share, and most importantly, we need your comments. Mind you, this is not a donation. It is a declaration. Your 100 Rand is your voice saying, I'm ready to change Africa's economic from ground up. All the best, all the best, all the best, young people of Africa, on this initiative. Take it massively, take it seriously. May God bless Africa and her children. I love you, Africa.